Dr. Nariwan here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. In Egypt, a committee of legal experts has announced reforms to several articles of the Constitution that would open presidential elections to more competition and impose a two-term limit on future presidents. The changes will be put to a national referendum next month. One of those who's widely expected to run is Secretary General of the Arab League, Amr Moussa. Democracy Now! Senior producer Sharif Abdel Kouddous interviewed him in Cairo last week. Sharif is here in our studio in New York. Sharif, talk about who Amr Moussa is.
Well, Amr Moussa is a career diplomat and probably one of the best well-known politicians in the Middle East. He's served as a diplomat for the past 50 years. 20 years he served under the Mubarak government, first as deputy representative to the United Nations, then ambassador to India. From 1991 to 2001, he was Egypt's foreign minister. In 2001, he was replaced and put in as Secretary General of the Arab League, where he served for the last 10 years. 2 days after Mubarak was forced out of office, he announced that he is going to step down from the Arab League position in March this month. This is widely viewed as him preparing to run for president. There's been some confusion over whether he's officially declared his candidacy. After these constitutional reforms were announced on Sunday, he responded to reporters' questions saying, "Now that any Egyptian can run, inshallah, I will run. God willing, I will run." That was reported by the state news agency as saying that he denied he has officially announced it. I'm sure that he will run. And he's seen by many as a leading presidential candidate because he's well known. And this is an issue that's important because these elections will be held in 6 months. And many think that's not enough time for other people to establish themselves before him. But I was, after a lot of calls, I was granted an interview with him in the Arab League headquarters, which is just outside of Tahrir. And I asked him about his potential candidacy, about Israel, about the Egyptian uprising.
Let's go to the interview.
Secretary General Amr Moussa, welcome to Democracy Now!
Thank you. Welcome to the Arab League.
Thank you. It's been 10 days since Hosni Mubarak was forced to resign following an unprecedented popular uprising. What are your thoughts on what happened and where Egypt stands today?
Well, Egypt today is going through a transitional period where things will certainly move in the direction of preparing the ground for the next phase or the era of New Egypt. The preparation for the election of the president, election of parliament, drafting of a new constitution, preparing a vision for Egypt of the future after the transitional period. Now the work centers on amending the constitution, dissolving the parliament, and other steps like releasing the prisoners, political prisoners. And all those steps are positive ones, changing the atmosphere. And it is my opinion that Egypt after the 25th of January is different, totally different than the one before that date. It's a different Egypt. And therefore we have to prepare for that with a vision, constitution, new faces, young people, and that's why I am really optimistic about the future of Egypt after this revolution or uprising as you have described.
Do you intend to run for president?
Well, it depends on the amendments to the Constitution and how they are framing the new basis for the election of the president. Then, at that moment, one can decide as an Egyptian citizen. My opinion is that now I have to move from my job as Secretary General of the Arab League to be just an Egyptian private citizen. And from that standpoint, I will decide what should be my next.
What would your electoral platform be? What issues would you run on?
Well, as I'm telling you, there must be a new vision that should be based on two main items: democracy and reform. Under democracy, there are a lot of issues that we have to talk about, and laws that have to be enacted and steps that have to be taken. Under reform, it is a wide agenda to reform the aspects of life, the basic things, the basis for the Egyptian life. What happened before, in fact, caused tension and a lot of what you may call a situation that makes the Egyptian society suffers and does not function properly. We have to get back that society to function properly, considering all the major items which form the life and build the life of any society: education, health, the young people, women, the rights, human rights, transparency. There are so many things that will have to be tackled, and they have to be reformed in the right sense of the term reform, not just a superficial one, but deep reform that would bring back, compensate for what we have lost for so many years, and build a new Egyptian society.
You were a part of the Mubarak government for more than a decade. Some have criticized you, saying you didn't call for reform then. What's your response?
Well, I was foreign minister, yes, for 10 years, and I had my own way of thinking and acting and stands that I have taken. I was the foreign minister of Egypt at that time. That I cannot deny. I should not deny. In fact, I must say that this was a period of time where I have done several things to serve our country and to streamline our policy and to be very clear in expressing to the world where Egypt stands. That I have done. I'm not born yesterday to say that I have done anything or nothing up until this moment. That is not the case. Yes, I was participant. I was ambassador of Egypt also for 10 years, and then foreign minister of Egypt. This has to be underlined. I'm not foreign minister of X or Y, but foreign minister of Egypt and ambassador of Egypt. Those points will have to be underlined.
The military is in power now. The Supreme Council of the Armed Forces rules the country. What is your view of the military and how they've handled the situations thus far?
I believe that this is, as we were talking, a transitional situation. And it will end by electing a president that the people will elect him, democratically elected. And therefore, Egypt, after the transition period, will certainly be different than the whole situation in the last 60 years. This is a new Egypt, and we have to stress this point. I believe that the Supreme Council is doing whatever it can and doing fine insofar as this transitional period is concerned. We need such performance. We need such actions and steps and political steps that have been taken. But with the election of the president, the new president, that the people will elect him, the people will choose him, then this is the beginning of the new year.
There are strikes continuing across Egypt, across sectors of the economy. The military has warned against these strikes. Do you think the military should not make such warnings against the strikers?
No, those strikes are the result of the bad management of so many things in our society, government or public sector or private sector. Therefore, they came out with their complaints and their aspirations. I believe the time will come to tackle that, not in the transitional period, but in the new era of Egypt, the new government of Egypt, the new president of Egypt. The strikes have declared, have explained the position or the complaints, the malaise, the you can say even the aspirations, the hopes of several segments of the Egyptian society. That's fine. This has to be noted and has to be tackled when the new Egypt is emerging. That the labor force needs reconsideration of their position, of their salaries, of their rights, and also the fallahin in the villages, the students, the young people, the women, and so on. This will come, but this is a what you may call a warning signal, a wake-up call that we are here and we have demands. So this, I believe, has been duly noted. So when the Supreme Council calls for, he is saying, in fact, okay, now we know, but at this time we need calm. We'll see how things and how the dialogue between the Supreme Council and those forces will take place, but this is how I understand.
On the foreign policy front, do you think that treaties with Israel should be renegotiated?
I believe that the Egyptian-Israeli relations and Arab-Israeli relations have to be explained thoroughly in order not to have a lot of confusion about them. The Arab position vis-à-vis Israel and the Arab-Israeli conflict is based on the Arab Initiative of 2002. And there is nothing, no doubt about the existence of this initiative and our commitment, all of us, to it. That's. On the Egyptian front and its bilateral relations with Israel, there is a treaty, and the treaty will be respected. What the Supreme Council has announced is clear and leaves nobody with a doubt in his mind.
You've been very critical of Israel's blockade of Gaza. Egypt's complicit in this blockade. Do you think that the border should be opened and the siege lifted?
Definitely, the siege should be lifted. There is no question about that, and no hesitation. This is
on the Egyptian side as well.
The siege has to be lifted. On the Egyptian side, I believe now the gates are open, and with the presence of Egyptian forces, and in cooperation with the Palestinians, in order to have something discipline, but allows our brethren in Gaza to get to their jobs, to travel wherever they want to travel, and according to an understanding between the two authorities.
What is your view of the Obama administration's stance during this uprising? Some have been critical of it, calling it wavering and unclear. And the U.S. has been supporting for 30 years the Mubarak government. Do you think that without that support, the Mubarak government would have fallen quicker?
Well, the positions taken were, as you said, wavering between yes and no, and go and stay and things of that kind. There was no firm American stand of support or of opposition. But this is the type of policy that we have seen on the peace in the Middle East, on stability in the region, democracy in the region, and so on. This the type of diplomacy that we became familiar with. Unfortunately, we needed firm positions on peace, on the future of stability in the region, rather than wavering between one opinion and the other, the day and next day.